When Raila Amolo Odinga started his campaign, he didn't even start it in Africa. He started it in Europe. Go check. Why? Because the white people have to decide for Africa who is going to be their AUC chair. AUC has been meaningless and useless for Africa. And I can't point to one achievement of AUC for Africa. And I can't point to one thing and that is why AUC cannot stop the wars in Africa. It has not been able to do anything meaningful for Africa. Even being able to do connectivity, roads and infrastructure for Africa, it hasn't achieved. 1.5 billion people in the African continent going to beg to the United States economy that has got 300 million people. And all of them looking at AUC as Europe and America, which to me I consider poor, compared to Africa. AUC has become that set of strings that the West uses to control how far Africa can go and where and when. And believe you me, if Raila wants to win this seat, he has to appear to the Europeans like a weak leader. If he comes with the gusto of the late Muammar Gaddafi, the West will not let him become AUC chair.
Now, it is very clear that Raila Amolo Odinga started campaigning from Europe and America before coming to Africa to campaign. We saw one of the trips that he made to Germany, where we had Raila Amolo Odinga meeting some leaders there. In fact, some of the platforms that Raila Amolo Odinga had engaged with these African presidents, it has been in foreign countries, Germany, US, France, and that's how the campaigns have been working. Raila has been negotiating for the AUC chair through some of the whites, meaning that Africa itself is still led by the whites. And if there's a reason to not to elect Raila Amolo Odinga into power, it is this one. I personally feel that should be the case because we cannot take, as a leader of Africa, if you are the AUC chairperson, you cannot honestly campaign through the whites. Believe in the African leaders themselves that they can make their decisions, despite they're getting the support. Of course, we know Africa right now, one thing Raila has done, it is simply making us look like this is neocolonialism. We are being colonized by the whites through the African leaders. And basically, that is what is happening. Because how do you campaign in abroad? Anyway, that's not my point here today. Is the AUC chair significant in the African continent? As per to me, no. I only see Musa Faki in various occasions coming to Kenya, and he never even makes serious speeches. So it's just there. But have we seen infrastructure being developed to be able to assist the African continent, our continent, to be able to connect Kenya with the rest of the world? Have we seen any form of infrastructure that has been put in place for that? Now, that could not be maybe probably necessary right now, but we've had so many barriers that are preventing African nation to African nation trade. So realize that to move from Kenya to Uganda, it's not easy. To move from Kenya to South Africa, not easy. To move from Kenya to Ghana, si rahisi. Going to Egypt, even some countries as an African, to go to another African country to do business there, it's not easy. And what has AUC done as far as that is concerned? We have to interrogate this as Africans, as Kenyans. What has it done to help in that? For instance, we have some war that is going on in DRC, where already M23, that's the rebel group, has already taken over Goma. And as we speak today, what is the position of AUC? We're only seeing William Ruto, who does not have the leadership actually qualities, because when he made a call to the France Prime Minister or maybe President, that is wrong. Wrong completely. Wrong completely. That was not fair. You called to brief him instead of even calling the African leaders to brief them. What does role that does Macron play in Africa here? In East Africa, to be specific. So in a nutshell, it was not a fair call that he made. But the fact remains it was no leadership because we are not getting solution, just having summits here and there. Now the war is happening. Shekedi is seeing maybe Sadiq is going to Angola. They are getting help from South Africa. While these African leaders are sleeping, they're not doing anything significant. They're just talking about stories about Goma and the rest. What is the role of AUC on the East African soil, particularly to DRC, on what is happening there? What do they have on board that they have to do? What is Musa Faki doing? This is what we ask about now. What is the role of AUC in the African affairs? We need to have a scenario where we are having our solutions being gotten locally, solutions to our problems being solved here in Kenya, here in Africa, here in Tanzania, across in Rwanda, Madagascar here. We are getting summits that are making sense. Then what is this role that Raila going to play in Africa that we are praising him so much for going to take this seat? That is going to be so significant, not just even to Africa, even to Kenya. Because we are not seeing the hand of African Union in any African matter. We are not feeling it. We are not feeling it. We've had recently a coup that happened in Burkina Faso. In this kind of a scenario, we did not actually, despite AU pronounced itself in one or the other, Ibrahim Traore has been able to prove all these leaders wrong by bringing the type of leadership that the people of Burkina Faso needed. And this type of leadership, it has silenced the African Union. They cannot pronounce themselves as far as the coups are concerned because the person who was in power without a coup was worst. And now the person, the young man, Ibrahim Traore, leading Burkina Faso, has now taken over and is doing well despite getting into power illegally. Meaning the AUC failed by not listening to the people of Burkina Faso before, by not correcting some of these things that presidents do, by not putting proper regulations or even proper guidelines on how Africans should engage with the foreign countries as far as the benefit of an African is concerned. So in a nutshell, AUC has been failing all along, and up to now it's failing. And probably I feel Raila Amolo Odinga could have been more beneficial even to Africa, even to Kenya, if he was actively involved in the Kenyan politics. Because AUC is not going to benefit us in any way. Because Raila is more of a celebratory person. He wants to be respected, celebrated, having power here and there. The way you saw in BBI, the way we saw in Uru's handshake, the way we have seen in Tini William Ruto, where bodyguards are there, allowances are in place, you go into a place, you are recognized. That lifestyle, someone used to called it a nilotic lifestyle. I think it was the former police spokesperson, Charles Owino, was saying, William Ruto saying it's a PhD word. That's a nilotic lifestyle. It's not low lifestyle now, it is nilotic. I find it very funny, but it's just normal. So in a nutshell, we realize that the African Union is not important as such. Not because it exists, because of the leadership that we're having there. Because now when you see Raila Amolo Odinga going to campaign in Germany, campaigning in Africa, in the Western countries, campaigning in China, yet the presidents are here in Africa. They can engage on the African soil and then be able to come up with a plan or maybe an agreement. What are these powers that exist in foreign countries that cannot solve the African issues locally? It's a big challenge that we have as an African continent. And I feel strongly that it is high time leaders of this country, these African countries, decide to do things the right way. Or else, Kwame Nkrumah, he will turn in his grave and shed tears. What is this that they left back? Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere will be able to ask himself, huu ni undugu aina gani ambao uko African continent? Mzee Jomo Kenyatta will ask himself, what is this that people are doing? And of course, Dedan Kimathi, the Mau Mau leader, could be right now asking himself, is this what I was killed for? I don't know what's your take, you guys. Let me see your comments in the comment section so that you can be able to engage further and learn what probably we need to do as the African continent. My name is Abel Mukua. Please let's keep subscribing, liking, and commenting because that is the best support you can always give this channel.